The all-new generation of the Lexus RX, here in the form of the 450h, the big hybrid engine. This is today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. The question today is, can this hybrid system, even in a full-size SUV, replace a big diesel? Is that possible? Does it make sense consumption-wise? And of course, we're going to take all the details on the exterior, interior and the driving experience. I mean, you see it already right now here, this car is definitely polarizing. So we're going to talk a lot about this car. We have a lot of interesting details also on the interior. Infotainment is very interesting. And that's now on Autogefühl in full screen, full HD and full length. Let's go. Starting with the front, definitely the most unique in the full-size SUV segment. And you know, there's a saying that the designers were allowed to kind of do anything and play a little bit like with a samurai sword, like here, going this very sharp lines, and it is polarizing. And I have some moments where I say, wow, this is really something special, it's really beautiful. And then I have moments where I say, oh, is it maybe too much show off? So what about you? What do you think about it? Too much show off? Or is it great in a unique design? Put me your opinion in the comments. And here, even in the F-Sport variant we have here, so the sporty style, then you have even more aggressive front grille that has this comb style structure and has, you know, the shiny black elements that makes it even more aggressive. But the biggest change, if you compare it to the previous generation, is that the front grille now almost takes, well, the whole car in the front. 4.89 meters or 16 feet, that's the total length of this massive car. 12 centimeters longer than the previous generation. And here again we have the F-Sport variant, the top sports variant, with a special badge right there. And starts usually with 18-inch rims. These ones here, the F-Sport rims, also fitting to the exterior color in 20-inch. They still don't look that huge because there's a lot of tire still left, so huge tires here. But I think it's good because that protects the rims, and you know, you don't have to be that careful at the pavement or so. But we also have some very interesting infotainment system where we can check that with the camera that we don't damage the rims. More details to that soon. So much to say about the design. Also in the side profile, you see the main design line here dividing in light and shadow. You see it very well here in this aspect, along with the door handles. But then it dissolves right here and it starts right there again and falls the way to the rear. So interesting concept here. And here also the characteristic of the new generation, the flying roof. So, well, it is not really flying, but this is a visual illusion right here with the black part. That looks like the roof would really be separated from the rest of the car. And finally, the rear. You see a rather flat rear window. That's good for the design, makes it a little bit coupe style-like, because the Lexus RX is not available in two versions like the BMW X5 and X6. But here they thought maybe, okay, let's do something that already looks a little bit like a coupe. But of course you lose space on the inside then. Then some 3D effects here with the taillights. That works quite well. Also this sharp angles right there. And in the F-Sport version we also have a stronger lower bumper. It has some diffuser style. And we got the hybrid version, says here RX 450h.
This is the key. See it right here. I think it's nice that they have this curved structures also at the key. Besides that, the key is not that worthy considering the price of the car. And close it and open it here. That's possible. Or, of course, with keyless entry, it also works like this. Always nice, those door handles. They are really massive. They just feel special. And also good door closing sound. Then let's get inside. This is here also the F-Sport interior, and that means aluminum inlets are used, but you can also generally get them, and also animal skin inside of the doors. I'm not sure if this is genuine or faux, but the seats are. And what is interesting here, as for the storage space, really good solution here to flip it in and out, so you can easily access whatever you put there. A clever solution. Then into the interior, and even with the basis version, you get a lot. For example, keyless entry, AC, rear view camera, and very nice cloth seats. Here with the F-Sport variant, you then get the animal skin. Therefore, you should not go with the F-Sport version. The seats from the form are a little bit sportier. You see, you got more shoulder support. You know, that's pretty much fine. That's not it, but here the F-Sport, only animal skin available. Then in the lower part, you can see the adjustments, also for lumbar support. And so a lot of stuff you can adjust here, and more when I take a seat there. Also those high floor mats with the Lexus logo and aluminum foot packs and stuff. And already to show you here on the left part, there are some controls like for the head-up display and also for changing the front and the surround view camera, heated steering wheel, and also for the rear hatch. And then this F-Sport steering wheel has a good grip, and no matter of the surface, what I always find great is when you put your hands behind it here, it is really a soft surface underneath. So it's not like directly hard on it, but it's softened up, and that's a really good feeling. Let's now get inside, and this is really the strength of this car. Pure comfort. You sit relatively high, of course, here in the full-size SUV. This is really pure comfort. You could go miles and miles and kilometers with that. Absolutely no problem. Nice, by the way. You see, I got a good entry here now, and I'm sitting way wide from the steering wheel. And as soon as I turn on the ignition right here, you see the steering wheel comes towards me, and usually also the seat here. There it is. So you see, that is as I've turned off the ignition now, seat goes through further in the back. By the way, those beeping sounds when the doors open, some of you like it, says, oh, I really need that. I'm more annoyed by it. And then again, when I start the car, seat moves forward, steering wheel comes towards me. That's a really good solution to get easily in and out, and then have your personal comfortable seating position. And on the inside of the doors, you can also set 1, 2, 3 different memory sets. When you, for example, you are driving the car, your wife is driving the car, or other way around, you and your husband driving the car, that you can switch around for the seating position and lumbar support and so on. And now to the cockpit overview. And by the way, headroom here, I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", really a lot of space. If you have a panoramic roof, that might be a little bit less, but still, there's really plenty of space, so no problem also for very tall people. You might just have a problem with the color of the animal skin here. So red, I don't know. What do you think about it? I don't really like it. Then this general overview, you see we have more horizontal lines, especially here and here and here. So, and well, it's not that clean from the interior. Of course, a lot of functions have gone here in the next generation here now into this huge screen. There's hardly any more widescreen format. Maybe, you know, the new Mercedes E-Class also has such a widescreen format, but really huge, and that attracts attention. And whenever you have co-drivers or passengers in the back, everyone's like, wow, what a big infotainment screen. So that's a good thing to show off at first. Even if maybe it doesn't make too much sense. Then again, the steering wheel, as I said, there's soft background here and very good grip. Special F-Sport steering wheel. The instruments, will soon go into the details of them. They are mainly digital. Then the middle part with the analog clock, that's, you know, you do that in a luxury car. I think it's also a nice feature. Then those knobs, we also go into in detail soon. They don't do any click. Well, this does a little clicking sound here, no click at all, but you know, it's a interesting feeling that you don't have any click resistance here. Climate unit is still separate from the infotainment screen. We'll soon also have a feature on the infotainment screen. Then the automatic gear shifting lever. Yeah, this is again this, you know, that you just don't pull it backwards and forwards again. You have to do it, you know, like this. Side, rear, here, then neutral, D. And the good thing is for the hybrid, the car is on. We could directly drive now, but here nothing, as we need full electric mode. Then again, here complicated system to go this and like this. I'm not sure why they still do it that way. Beverage holders right here, a little bit adaptive. Then to control the infotainment system, we'll soon have a feature about that, how that works. Here you can set some driving modes, but you don't use them that often. And then final storage spaces right here below the armrest, and it's also from a very good build quality. Everything is really well done. And right in here, a lot of space. We also remove that to clean it, for example. 12-volt power supply and USB and aux input in here. 2 USB slots you got there. And the glove box, you have to press it here and it slides down smoothly. A lot of space in here, that's great. Instruments, digital, you see here the digital speedometer in the central part. And then you can also see that as soon as you charge, hit the brakes, then the hybrid is recharging, recuperating, and power would be when you know use both engines and or both motors, and then hammer it all the way. On the left side, by the way, here I've set it the MPG this time, so for all our American users, and that's about 8.5, 8.7 liters on 1 kilometers. So yes, it can replace a big diesel that works. I think that's really reasonable. And here this says the EV mode, always when we're just in the electric mode. And left to the steering wheel, you see the commands I've explained you earlier here, also with the camera view. The lower part, this is to open the hood, and then there's another storage space, and this is so greatly done and funny. Here, I mean, it's simple storage space. Here also sliding out smoothly. You know, that's what the reason why people buy Lexus. Let's now take a detailed look at the middle console. Here's, by the way, another small storage space. For example, a mobile phone fits right in here if it's not too thick. Then here, for example, sport mode to have a better throttle input, or eco mode to have a less throttle input to save some more fuel, but usually you just leave it in normal mode. EV mode is only available at lower speeds, but that does the car automatically anyway. Then it gets really interesting because you get some basic hotkeys, for example, menu or go back or switch to the map. But then right here you can control the infotainment system, and you do it like this. It's really, you know, really strange how that feels. It feels a little bit soft, and you can go in every corner. It's like something like a mouse you move like on the computer, and then you can click on it to switch something, or you can use the enter buttons right here, right and left. You can also play some music. So, and I don't know what I did now, but yeah, I changed something at the climate. It didn't even watch that, how I did that. So that's a little bit of redundant. So you can use the right, left, or just push the center button, and you have to really get used to it. I will show you that on the screen, why you do have to get used to it. And then, you know, the shifting lever, we had that one earlier, and in the front of that, you have the controls, for example, for seat cooling, 3 levels, and seat heating, 3 levels. Not possible at the same time, by the way. Co-driver and here for the driver each. Electric handbrake. And then in the front here for inductive charging of your smartphone, you have to activate it. Then you see the flashlight. And then you can also charge your phone in an inductive way if your smartphone is available for that. Then the AC unit here, another detail look at the clock also as well. And then again, the buttons, no resistance here, but it feels smoothly. Here some clicking is also available to change something here. For example, change the next song, go there, hotkeys for media and radio, classic DVD changer. And then this is a rather classic AC unit. I just wonder, you can almost do anything, but you can't switch on and off the AC function. That you have to do inside the screen, glass display here, and all about the screen I'll show you right now. And now about the infotainment system. I want to start with the most impressive stuff, because first of all, when you start the car and then want to put in the rear view camera, there it is, when you put it in reverse gear, it's really great, and you can just drive it silently in hybrid mode. You see the fake drone view from above and also the other one left next to it, and then you can really very well see how you can get in and out this parking box, for example. Then it switches to the front camera. You see here, now I'm seeing to the front, and we can do it like this. So I really love that system, and it's really like you know, in a computer game you can do that and very perfectly. And also when you're approaching something like this here, yeah, you can get very close to it. So, and then again, even more interesting, when you go to the front, there are several options. For example, here on the side here, here. Let's see. I can use also the button at the left side of the steering wheel, and that is very interesting. Here you can switch. That it looks weird, but there you can see the right and the left wheels, that you don't damage the alloys. You see, for example, when those lines were, you know, something now, or maybe an entry of a basement garage, then you can really see how close you are on each of the sides. And you can switch it, of course, again here to the normal front or rear view. And even more interesting, when you put the shifting lever in the P mode and then hit the key, the button, the camera button on the left side of the steering wheel, then you got this animation here. Really funny, you know? Oh, such a nice small animation here with the RX, but really nicely done. Goes all the way around and then switches to the normal fake view from above. Also a feature that you can very well show off to your passengers here. So, and then let's concentrate on the rest of the infotainment system. This is the main menu, and the basic thing how it works like, and this is good, I can show you also here left and right with this mouse kind of alike, and I'm really like almost moving freely, but as soon as I come over some of the buttons, it's like a magnet and sticking, you know, a little bit adhesive to all of the main menu. That helps a little bit. Right side here, always you can, for example, put the map here on the right side, or also the audio, or for example, phone, Bluetooth connection possible, or also the climate unit. Here you have to turn off and on the AC right here in the menu. I'm not sure why they didn't have a separate button for that. That's really a little bit annoying. And on the left side you can put everything bigger, for example, of the GPS. Yeah, you know, it's an old school view, but it has a good overview. But then again, I mean, you can put it on both sides, like for example in your direction, and then here with a north up. I mean, yeah, is it really necessary? I don't know really. Then you can also put the media stuff in here when I have the Bluetooth player connected, the phone and some car information. Also the climate right here. That he won't do that. So climate, yeah, he will. Now I have a double here right on the left side. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's really useful, and it's really complicated. I mean, you have to get used to it, controlling it with this kind of mouse, and especially if you go to the setup level here, you really have to hit things very correctly. For example, let's see, I want to go to the one next to audio. I really have to be gentle, because now I can reach it, but if I would, there, you see, if I would just not be gentle enough, I directly change to the next part, and you are not that concentrated when you're driving, and that can create some problems. And so I'm really not a fan of this control. It's something very unique, but I'm not really sure if it's really necessary that they have done it in that way. Also, when you try to enter an address, here you have to search the menu, then destination, here address, town, and then you really have to hit all of this here again. It's really complicated. It works with a little bit of practice, but I think even this turning and pressing knob would be a little bit easier than, because sometimes, especially here when I'm standing still, it's okay. But when I'm driving, then you maybe miss the letter and then, oh no, I want to go to Berlin, and that's it. Yeah, that's about the infotainment system, but of course it's very impressive in its size. Now to the rear, the same great door handles right there. And then how much space do we have there? Still this, very special color used. So let's get inside. And it is a full-size SUV. It has massive length, and I have to see this. I would be driving. For a rear passenger, I would have to put the seat a little bit higher, as I cannot really put my feet under the seat that well. And then you see, well, there is enough space, of course, even for tall people, but we have that much space in the Honda Jazz, and that is like half the size of the car. So the package, package we're referring to what's on the outside and what's then left on the inside, is not good. Headroom, still, a lot, but the car is also big, but for such a big car, you could have more space. There are also competitors that are better in that respect. Still a very comfortable seating position here. You sit relatively high here because also the battery has to be stored beneath this bench. And then is a very interesting function right below here. You can electrically change the back part of the seats, and there it gets really interesting because you can use it partly, some strange sounds again, you can use it partly to adjust the back part of the seat here, but just to some extent. Like this, you can get a sleeping position, then you can move it a little bit further up, like this, but then if you want to have it even steeper, then you get in the region where the full flipping mechanism is activated. And I think that's a bad thing, because now this sound is annoying me again. And I would like to be able to do it like this and not to be annoyed by this, by the system, because maybe I want to sit like this and then they beep, 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 beep. Well, but the full extent of the system, that's by now hold it, and then something like this is happening. That's the full sense of it. It takes ages, until the electric motor is finished. But again, it's a comfortable system if you want to flip the seats. It's also possible, first of all, here, some more space, and also beverage holders right there. And then you can also flip this one here individually. There it is. So this one can be flipped up individually, so you can use it as a ski hatch, for example. But if this is connected, then I know you like it when Thomas' workout is active at the rear seats, then you can also go to the other side and electronically flip both together. And that is possible here from the rear, but it will also be possible from the hatch, and I will show you that very soon how that works. By the way, seat heating is also available for the rear passengers, at least if you get this option. Also 12-volt power supply and some small storage space for your kids. Then the rear, see my shadow here, shadow over the Lexus logo. Ta-da. You can press it right here, or you can hold the key, and then usually the hatch opens if the car wouldn't have turned the ignition on. So I have to use it right there. Otherwise, when the ignition is off, you can also use the key. Takes a lot of time until it's right up there, and we have put some stuff in here that you can see how much stuff is fitting in here. By the way, this here again, no rails right and left, so it's wobbling around. I don't like that. This cover here, you can remove it also here, and then you can see how you can load through. That's, I can fit my bicycle in there when I remove the front tire. But it's a massive downhill mountain bike. Also 12-volt power supply right there and some light. Then beneath here some more space. And there are also good fixations for tension belts, for example right here. I can show you how to do that, and I can, for example, secure my mountain bike right there like this, and then pull it over to the other side. And well, you lose a lot of height here. That's a problem. So it, you know, especially with handlebars, it's a problem. It still works somehow, but here you have to be sure, due to the design, you lose a lot of space right here in the height. And then to flip those seats, that's really comfortable that you can also do it from the rear, because here on the right side, there are the same buttons that you can see in the front right here. And you can do the same then, kind of like this, and also like this, and then they come up again. And you know, this is really a nice solution. I mean, you could have also done it manually. I'm not sure if I prefer the electric solutions here everywhere, because those electric motors, they work against anything. Like this, you have seen that the helmet has been pushed a little bit, and that might lead to some damage at some point. Of course, here, comfortable solution when you press them both at the same time. Which one goes further? Go, go, go left side, go left side. Yeah, and left side wins. There it is. And under the hood, what do we have here? This is the hybrid drive, the 450h. Costs about 60,000 euros in Germany, or 52,000 dollars in the US. And this consists of a 3.5 liter V6 naturally aspirated engine, plus the hybrid drive with electric motors for the front and the rear, and 313 horsepower total output. And then what else? If you want to save about 10,000 euros, then you can pick the entry version in the US, for example, just the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, again 10,000 euros less. It will have more fuel consumption then. You have to, you know, calculate if it's important for you to have the hybrid drive. And if you want to have an entry version here, for example, in Germany or rest of Europe, then you can also get the 200T. That's a turbo engine then, and this is also 10,000 euros less expensive, and also starts with a front wheel drive only. So those possibilities you have here. By the way, the orange cables always indicate that this is here for the electric part. Usually the main engine, the normal one, also you feel the heat still is beneath here, and the electric parts are usually more towards the right side. You see also where those orange cables are heading. The turbo engine, by the way, is 2 liter with 238 horsepower, so if you fancy that one. But if we stay with this one here, the acceleration 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 0 to 60 miles an hour is 7.7 seconds, and that's still very reasonable, combined with a CVT, a continuously variable transmission. So let's talk about driving, and very interesting, I can activate the camera system with the button in the left lower part next to the steering wheel, and then we have the great view from above. And what you also realize at the moment, although I'm running up the basement garage ramp, the car is still in the hybrid mode, and then I can see also from the fake drone view from above and the acoustic signs that I'm not touching anything off the ground. And not anything at the pavement side, so that's very important for the alloys. So really great system. So I see it in the front, there's a big front camera mounted, and also the fake drone view from above that really helps when having such a huge vehicle. And well, it gets automatically activated when you put it in reverse gear, or that's to me the most important part. I think those camera systems need to have a separate button somewhere. For example, here it's a perfect place that I can press it when I'm going to the front, but because sometimes maybe I want to park in the front or going in the basement garage, then it's really tricky. I mean, what to do? And sure, stop and put reverse first, that's nonsense. So with a separate button, that's really a very good solution. And you might have also heard, I'm still running in the electric mode. It says here EV, also in the symbol right up there, because I'm at lower speeds, 26 kilometers maximum right now. And as long as I'm rolling in the lower speeds, By the way, the turning circle you have it's still okay, of course not the best one. Now the petrol engine is activated, because I'm going to the higher speeds, accelerating a little bit harder, but as soon as I hit the brakes and approach the next red traffic light, then again the EV symbol is activated and I'm back in the electric mode. What I find very interesting, that the electric mode is a little bit more often active than in the Toyota RAV4, which is, similar in the technology, but way smaller, way cheaper, and also, of course, way less weight. And I would have thought that it's maybe the other way around. I don't know, but I mean, this one here is the all-new generation. The RAV4 was just a facelift. Maybe there's something to do with that they have tuned the hybrid system here a little bit more. So I'm a little bit more satisfied with the hybrid system here, because it's getting activated more often, also really constantly at slower speeds. You have to check, for example, to get the AC off. That is sometimes also a crucial part. So, but the system switches to the petrol engine if you accelerate harder, because then the system thinks, okay, that's more efficient in this case then, and let's use the electric drive for the slower speeds. So, and we'll have not only here parking, camera system, hybrid system, we'll have city driving, we'll also have an autobahn part where we set cruise control and just cruise a bit. And we'll also have an autobahn part where we really hammer the throttle, and you can see the high-speed performance on German autobahn motorway here as well. So one of the most crucial things is, of course, the comfort. You got a great comfort in this car. You sit relatively high, as I said earlier, and get a good overview to the front. It's really leisure travel always when sitting in this car. Although the overview when driving, well, to the rear is still okay, although the window is not that big. But then to the back sides, that's not that good. We have darkened windows, and also the design line that's coming to an end there. That can hinder your view to the rear side a little bit. So sound insulation is also at a really great level. And then if you add those hybrid moments to that, that accounts for another call feeling then. And so the hybrid is really using any moment it can use, which is which makes sense. So yes, it is true that by this system here you can replace a diesel engine in a big SUV. It works. And well, the official consumption figures, they are always way lower, because they are not really in a realistic cycle. It says, I think, about 5 liters on 100 kilometers. Here, you can also see it in the instruments, it's 8.5 liters on 100 kilometers. That's, of course, way above the officially stated figure, but I think it's still okay. I mean, we're driving a 3.5 liter V6, so it's a big petrol engine. And this is really a huge car. It weighs 2 tons, so you have to move it somehow. And when we think about consumption of some diesel engines in bigger SUVs, that's really not any better. So I'm really satisfied with that, and I think it's a good solution. You might remember, as I told you earlier with the engines, in the US you can also get this engine here just purely as a naturally aspirated one. Pay about $10,000 less, and in Germany almost the same, also paying $10,000 less. But then you cannot get the big NA engine, but you get a turbo. And this turbo can also be ordered just with front-wheel drive, by the way. Here it's a little bit different in the hybrid. Total system power of 313 horsepower. Just about 7.7, so something between 7 and 8 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or 0 to 60 miles an hour. And here you always got the all-wheel drive. It's got 2 electric motors, one for the front, one for the rear. That is kind of the same you can also order with the Toyota RAV4, but optionally here with the Lexus RX, it comes automatically that you got the all-wheel drive in the hybrid version. And you know, that might be important for someone going off-road. Although with this car, I don't see many people going off-road, to be honest. Or would you go off-road with this car? I'm not quite sure. Tell me it in the comments. But more importantly is that you also got more power to the ground with this weight, and got a more harmonic acceleration that can help as well. All the time now see, well, for example here, when I have to hit the brakes now, just the traffic light turning to red, sometimes you might think, whatever, hit the throttle and get the traffic light at yellow. But here, when you get a hybrid, at least you can say, okay, when I hit the brakes now, part of this power is at least recuperated and you don't lose it at all. So that makes sense in this way then. So, and that's quite nice. I also got the view to the digital instruments there all of the time, and the head-up display right in front of that. It's not quite like, for example, this experience in the Cadillac ATS. There you could control the height of the head-up display right in front of the steering wheel. Here you have to go a little bit deeper into the infotainment menu and then really check it. You know, where is it? What's happening, and height and so on. It's not right in the big one there. So to be very exact, you can do it right there in the front. Just to remember you how it's done. But so I can always adjust the height here, depending on if you're sitting more upright, if you're taller or if you're smaller. And I think the head-up display in general is really nice. It's a very clear display. It helps while driving. I don't have to raise my side to the lower part of the instruments. I can always remain the side right there. And well, it's not too hard to do it while driving. Also, I'm going here to the position, putting it a little bit higher now. There, that's it. So a very relaxed ride, especially in the city, also in combination with the hybrid drive. I really enjoy that. So maximum comfort definitely with the Lexus RX. Also those sport seats offer you still good side support. You can of course adjust them in multiple ways. It's just, as I told you earlier, that I'm of course not quite okay with the surface material. So here it's a construction site chicane. We are approaching the motorway. Here also, when I'm going into the corners, that's very interesting because we don't have air suspension here. It's called ABS, and it is an adaptive suspension. And you might have also seen on camera, the car is hardly tilting to the sides, and especially here for this F-Sport version, they have introduced electric motors that keep the car really tight, keep it straight. So when you're in some sharper corners, you get more stability on the side, which is on the outside of the curve. We have experienced the same system, for example, in the Audi SQ7, and that also really helped a lot. And with those huge SUVs, it really makes a big difference. However, when I was riding in the city and you go over some bumps, from covers of the sewage system or some potholes, I'm not 100% satisfied with that. So, or like this now. So I don't think the suspension is extremely comfortable. It might be different if you not have the F-Sport version. But here you have really to be sure this is more a sporty feeling. It's astonishingly sporty. I mean, also the steering is, it's relatively direct, but it doesn't feel natural. It feels a little bit artificial. You have to be aware of that. But the behavior in the corners is really sporty, so you don't feel then that you got a huge SUV. But then the downside is that it's sometimes a little bit rough even for the suspension, Not when you're going in waves or something like that, no, but sudden potholes that appear on the road. And this is definitely the downside of this suspension. And there we have also experienced other competitors of the full-size SUV segment that have done a better compromise between sportiness and the riding comfort. And at the moment, I think BMW is leading there suspension-wise, and then second place for Audi. And again, no, not because they're German. We've talked a lot about this. For example, I think it's good that you can still get a naturally aspirated engine here, and we don't have this this hybrid system here with the German competitors. They're now more and more, for example, Mercedes with the GLE introducing also hybrid technology, also with plug-in technology. So that's also evolving. Here, of course, they're offering it for years. So now some acceleration. You see that it was very easy that I got to 140, and I can show that on camera again. By the way, fully charging when I hit the brakes at such high speeds now. So when you, for example, is cruising at 100 kilometers an hour, and then we're just going to like 150 or so, and I really hammer the throttle now, like this. And 150. So that was it, 100 to 150 kilometers an hour. I mean, we are the V6 engine, and I think the sound is reasonable. However, you might think, doesn't it sound a little bit strange, like how, shifting and RPMs are behaving? Yeah, that's because of the CVT, the continuously variable transmission. And that is, I've explained it a couple of times, that is special automatic transmission that doesn't work via separate gears in a classic sense, as you would imagine it with an automatic gearbox. It's more like one gear, let's take it that way. Yeah, well, you can of course also shift gears, but it's not real that it's like separate pieces inside the transmission. You should check out the, for example, Wikipedia. There are some schematics if you're more interested in how that really works. But it's more like you get at slow speed, a very smooth transition. You don't really feel the car would be shifting at all, and you remain relatively at the same kind of RPMs all the time then when the car is accelerating. That's a really interesting concept, and it's very nice when you're going at lower speeds and relaxed. It can be a little bit annoying when you're really pushing the car. Now, sound insulation at 140 kilometers an hour, I don't have to raise my voice that much. Well, I mean, it doesn't have the best wind coefficient because it's still, a big cube running on the road. But if you compare to other full-size SUVs in this class, as far as I remember from, there also the Mercedes GLE was a little bit better. However, this one here still conveys a very good traveling feeling. This middle console that is coming really very wavy towards you is irritating at first, but when you got this, travel relaxed feeling, then it can also create some, like, let's say, motorhome feeling, really huge, relaxed, have the, best sporty overview here, but it can make you a little bit, let's say, I'm in my big castle and just rolling. However, you've seen the performance is also okay. It's not like with the turbo engine, but again, I think it's good that they used the combination with the naturally aspirated engine right here. Still looking at consumption, if they changed at some point, 8.6 liters, so that will remain at this level. If you're using the hybrid technology more, then it can drop down a little bit. If you're going high-speed Autobahn, it will go up a little bit. Changing lanes. So again, very relaxed feeling. Now also setting the adaptive cruise control. This is leather column here at the right part of the steering wheel. It's the same also with Toyota cars. They're sharing a lot of technology. You feel that when driving the car and controlling some stuff. Heated steering wheel is also available, but I don't need that one today. And yeah, I mean, adaptive cruise control is now keeping also the distance to the car in front of me. And what I would also be interested in, sometimes you want to change the address of the GPS while driving. And in some systems that works pretty well, and sometimes it gets really annoying. And let's see, because we got this system here. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. It has some strange effects, you know. That's yeah. Sometimes like controlling a computer mouse. So that's and you have to really search for something and really look quite ahead. I mean, you can of course get used to it from time to time. But again, I think it's not really, you know, my favorite system here. Also, this is a funny view with the one view that is put north and the other one that is put in new view, and having it both at the same time, that can also be pretty irritating. So, one more high speed, 120 to whatever. Let's go now. 170. So 180, and now I have to race. Oh no, it gets louder, but it's perfectly normal. Still a good stability. Car is not swimming too much. Very nice, the sound from the V6. And of course, if you see such a vehicle here in the rear mirror, you think, oh, what's coming there? Is it a huge samurai putting out a sword? Because it really looks aggressive. So this Audi in front of me will clear the road. Sometimes it's not bad to have someone in front of you to clear the road, actually. One more. Nice performance still at higher speeds. It's 190 now. Still acceleration coming. I mean, even in that's 200. So even in the higher speed regions, the car still has some reserves. Still feels well to control, even though it's so high speeds are not like the specialty of a big SUV. But still feels very well to control. Not the best feeling again in the steering wheel. That is, I have to criticize a little bit. But overall, I mean, very good result for driving that car. And yeah, when I'm going back to the GPS here now, as I have to reduce speed anyway. Now, for example, I can relax again, set the adaptive cruise control. That's also important. There was some SL AMG something tuned, I think. If you set the adaptive cruise control, it's also, you know, safer if you do something in the GPS, because yeah, that can go into, for example, for destination here now. So because I mean, you have at some point you're looking at the GPS, then putting some stuff in, and then it's good that the adaptive cruise control can, you know, take care about something that is happening suddenly or so. So putting in an address here now. Slower. Yeah, it's really complicated. Yeah. And there you see, you know, when we do this these tests here live, then it really reveals the strength of the car. You know, where it's good and where it's not that good. So we always try to do our tests, you know, as realistic as possible, and not to try anything like 10 times in advance. Because such stuff should also work like for the first time, and if it also won't work for the first time, I mean, how will it be in your everyday driving life? I think you shouldn't learn a car. A car should be rather self-explanatory. So I'm really having a hard time to put the address in here. Do you know where we're going, guys? That might lead us to another review of us, because we are now going to McLaren. To the McLaren dealer in Düsseldorf, and there we'll catch our next vehicle, which is... Yes, McLaren. How did you find out about that? Nice. So, and we'll go there right now.
The route guidance will start now.
The route guidance will start
now.
now.
Keep right.
So you can listen also a little bit to the GPS, and we can test that. Now you can also see in the GPS a little bit better on the left side here. That is nice, by the way, to show something, you know, with this mouse kind of controlling button. And I can show you here. This is, you know, as I really would see it. So the practical view on the right side. Sometimes when the people in the rear think, hey, why you got two GPS screens? This is ridiculous. Yeah, and this one here is with north put up, so if you want to have a better overview on the map, but at the same time you can, while driving, oh nice, Infiniti Q70S, you hardly see it. Not sure if it's a private car, most often just a dealer registration. Or maybe you can also like show music on the right screen here, which I have not activated with the Bluetooth.
Right, onto B1.
Onto B1. But I think it's still okay with the voice here. And do you know, maybe there are some GPS systems which have like, wow, very annoying voices. Especially there are some systems with some voice, and also how the tone of the voice, where it's really like you feel in, you know, some,
In 2
I don't know,
kilometers,
military
keep
camp,
left.
like, go right now, in 300 meters, go left. So, but here I think it's still quite okay. Although the visualization is not that up to date, but at least you get a good overview then while driving. So that's pretty much fine. So we're going back here in the city. By the way, some more lane changing. Car really makes you feel relaxed, although you can drive fast with it. Most of the time, people, it's also always interesting. People also look at this car because it looks so spectacular from the outside. So in general, if I sum up the riding, definitely competitive. Suspension here a little bit rough to me on potholes. So I would be looking forward to drive a non-F Sport version, if that is maybe a little bit different, I don't know. But I think suspension-wise, the Germans there are ahead. Then again, the hybrid system, that's nice. You don't have to charge, it's really, well, at the given infrastructure, relatively comfortable, and it's still
7 into the tunnel.
It still works, you know, with the consumption. So for a big SUV and a petrol engine, that's really pretty much fine with the consumption. The comfort is superb. Also, I'm really fine with the sound insulation and the general driving feeling. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at this car from the outside, you think, oh, you know, some jerk with a big SUV, and what's the center weight, and it's really too huge especially for streets in Europe. But then again, if you drive such a big SUV, sometimes you think, okay, well, you got this command feeling. It's very comfortable, also very relaxed, and a very sovereign feeling. Then you can imagine why people also buy those cars. Although I always say most of the time smaller cars are definitely enough. But I can also understand if someone wants to enjoy the comfort here with that one. And this is definitely a car that when you drive it longer and longer, you definitely want to keep it.
And now the conclusion, Lexus RX in the all-new generation. First of all, exterior design is really the most unique in this segment, and it is so polarizing. Really want to hear your opinion. I have more moments where I think it is, something special, something beautiful, even if it's still, you have to admit, some kind of a show-off car, but that's also what it is designed for. Then the interior, really refined, great interior build quality. The infotainment system, a little bit too complicated to control, in my opinion. The driving, really comfortable drive overall for the car, and you really want to keep the car as, the longer you drive it. So overall, a very competitive car in this segment. So my verdict is really very positive here for the Lexus RX in general. But then to the very details, especially with this F-Sport variant and the hybrid. What about the hybrid? Yes, it can replace a big diesel. The consumption is really good for such a heavy car. But then again, if you compare it to the, when you have just a naturally aspirated engine or just a small turbo engine, depending on Europe or US market, is it worth to pay 10,000 euros more? That's again a question that really pays off. And of course, the real deal you get for the car. If you get the hybrid just for a little bit more, then it will also pay off on the long-term run with the consumption. And it's always nice to drive silently, maybe the last kilometer in front of your house, and in traffic jam, you really enjoy those silent moments. And then my special advice, do not go for the F-Sport version. Yeah, it may look a little bit more aggressive even in the front, if that's really necessary, but first of all, with the F-Sport variant in the interior, you only get the animal skin seats. You don't have to go for them if you not pick the F-Sport variant. That would be reason number one. And reason number two, yeah, you get those electric motors that you have more stability in corners, so the car feels sporty. But the suspension setup with the F-Sport variant is not really pleasing to me for such a big, comfortable vehicle. When you went over those potholes, that was too rough. And I would really be looking forward to drive maybe the turbo, or the non-F-Sport variant with just a naturally aspirated engine, so they have even some variety, but especially with the normal suspension setup at a later stage. I can really tell you more about it, but from the impression I got here, that is a little bit too rough for a rather comfortable big SUV. So my tip is really, yes, you can very well go for it in general in a full-size SUV segment, but I wouldn't really advise you to take the F-Sport version. Now looking forward again to your feedback in exterior, interior and the driving, and a general discussion about this car and the hybrid drive. And I'm sure we will see each other at the next Autogefühl episode.